Welcome to Moving Fearlessly chat number 22. And as Deb, who is my co-host on these chats, there's a lot of new faces and it's wonderful to see. Welcome to this chat series that Deb and I have been hosting now for 22 chats. A little bit of the history. This chat series was birthed through Fearless Communicators, and Deb is here representing Fearless Communicators. And that's a program that was run here in Australia a few years ago. And I connected with Fearless Communicators and finished their public presenting program, Fearless Force, as did a couple of people here. Oh, no, I think I'm the only one today. Mm-hmm. And then from there, we were generating a community here, and of course then COVID swung in and changed everything for the whole world. And everything has gone online, and Fearless Communicators started hosting, rather than training room sessions, chats online, and really reaching into the rich community of presenters that had developed in the US over a number of years through their public presenting programs, sharing expertise, and as a way to support us all through these massive changes. And then I, at some point, said, what about us down under? And Deb and Eduardo Placer, who Deb will introduce, chatted and said, let's create this and let's combine it with my company name, which is Moving Communication, and call it Moving Fearlessly. So here we are at chat number 27. Yes. Deb, did you want to say something about Fearless Communicators?
Yes, Fearless Communicators. We are a US-based company, but we work globally. And we've just finished our very first pilot of our Your Story Now program in Australasia. Johanna and I facilitated and coached that program, and a few of the women on the screen were participants in that. So despite the fact that borders are closed, we are still committed to being a global company. And the other thing about Fearless Communicators is this, something that we have developed as a part of our ethos and our commitment in 2020, because in so many ways this year has been challenging. So we recognize that we are a US-based company and that we act globally. And no matter where we are and where we go, we are always acting and working on Indigenous land. And so we want to acknowledge the elders, past, present, and emerging. We also acknowledge this year and in many years before this year, the persistence and the relevance of people's lives of institutionalized racism, misogyny, LGBTQ+ phobia, ageism, and ableism. And we work with our bodies, our voices, and our stories with our communities in the hope of dismantling those oppressive systems in the pursuit of freedom and justice for us all. So it's with that energy that we meet, and we invite you into all of the spaces that we work in. And we're so pleased that you are here.
Thank you. And I wanted to acknowledge I'm standing here in Sydney on Gadigal land. We also invite you to share where it is, which land upon which you are sitting, and acknowledge the elders past, the elders and the leaders in the presently and in the future. I also want to acknowledge the countless generations that the Gadigal here in the land I'm standing on. Of course, many of you know you come from Australia. That's Sydney, Australia, and that the Gadigal cared for this country for countless generations, and they actually never ceded their country to the British Crown. And this is still and always will be Aboriginal land. So where are you? Let's, if you would, in the chat, start to share so we get a sense. Hello, Leonie. Sorry, I've lost my chat.
Oh.
Here it is.
Shells. Is that Darug land? This is where my articulators get a little bit lost.
Darug land.
Darug land.
Awa Bakal country. Oh, the Wattakan Mountains near Lake Macquarie, New South Wales. Gundagara land. The Yuin Nation. The Whalers. Lane Cove. Gamarigal land. Jamaica.
Oh, we're close, Suzette. I'm in Barbados.
Wow,
Yum.
how fantastic.
Yum, Suzette.
Yeah, that's great. Snap.
So we're
Well,
both
welcome.
on sunset.
Yeah.
Suzette and I. See, we are global. People, we are global.
So, yes, welcome everyone. We'll do a quick connector. Deb, did you have something you wanted to jump in? Okay.
I just like connecting beyond the boxes. So what we're going to do is we're going to call out somebody who's on the screen with us. This might be a little bit trickier for the people who are on not on video, but if you can go off mute when it's your turn and play with your voice. Oh, there's Annette. Hello, saying yes to my invitation. But Suzette and Joe, you stay with whatever's comfortable for you. But what we're going to do is we're going to find a way to reach beyond our Zoom box into somebody else's box. And we're going to send them a little bit of energy or love or light or joy or whatever it is that we have. So I'm going to find mine up in this corner up here. Yeah, there it is. I've got it. I've got it. I'm gonna send this through to Annette because she was so clear on her yes. Annette, this is coming to your Zoom box.
I invite people to unmute. This is the great liberate ourselves from the mute button. We are humans. We all have voices. Let's hear them.
Let's hear them.
I have it. Thank you, Debra. I have it with two hands. Thank you, Debra. I am unmuted. Thank you, Annette. And thank you, Johanna. And good morning, everyone. So here we go. And it's gone into my heart. Oh, it feels so good in my heart. And I'm going to take it out of my heart and I'm going to give it to Sue. Sue.
You're muted, Suze.
Well, thanks, Annette. I've got it very delicately in my fingertips, and I'm gonna pour it to Tiff.
Thank you, Suze, for this delicacy, which I will cradle gently and allow to grow and blossom. And in that concept of growth and blossoming, I will hand it to Diana.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, wow. I feel like really growing. Yes, it's getting a bit, it's warming up. I'm going to pass it through to Gabriel.
Okay. It's big, but I'm going to make it small. And I'm going to send it to Shell.
Gabrielle. Oh, it's definitely warm and it's glowing. And it's a beautiful, beautiful green. And it's speaking of Mother Earth. And it wants to sing its way down to Jamaica and Suzette.
All right, I've got it. I'm cradling it. I'll put it close to my heart. And I'm going to now pass it on with a whole lot of sunshine and love to Leonie.
I've got it. the well-traveled energy now and feels full of love and light from the people it's touched. And I'm going to blow it to Joe.
Joe Evans, are you there?
Jo Evans was having quite a morning. She let us
Yes,
know
she was.
before she arrived. So I'm going to reach down into Joe's Zoom box, grab it back out there. Ready, Johanna? Because it's coming for you, baby.
Okay,
Ready?
I'm ready. I'm ready. Oh yeah, this is rich. This is juicy. This has got love. This has got light. This is growing. This is well traveled. This is complex. This is just so perfect for where we're heading right now. So wonderful. We've started to connect and feel into what is generating between us, and that's perfect because our presenter today is Diana from Cultivate Impact. And I wanted to introduce Diana as someone who has a strong intention to do just that, cultivating impact. And in warming up to introduce Diana, I was remembering when I first met Diana, which has been on these chats, which has been just such a wonderful element of these chats, meeting new people, because I'd never met Diana before. And what I noticed was Diana has a wonderful stillness and a receptivity. And then she reached out to me, and I learned a lot about her life and all the different work she has done, and that she was in a place of it. What came to my mind is one of those bush seeds that had closed after the fires, and in coming to moving fearlessly and through different areas of her life is opening. And right now she is in an opening and a reaching out and a growing. And in that spirit and with that imagery, I'm going to introduce Diana, who's going to introduce us all into the power of the perennial. Diana.
Thanks, Joe. Before we go, I'd like to also acknowledge the, because it's NAIDOC week too, acknowledge that we're meeting this week in NAIDOC week, and it's the, so acknowledge the traditional custodians of all the lands we're on, but also I want to extend this and also give gratitude to contemporary stewards who are making a difference to this world, and thank them for embracing Indigenous knowledge and Indigenous ways of being. Okay. Most trees are like most people. They thrive in communities and they thrive in fertile environments to become the best versions of themselves, to become sustainable, robust, and resilient. Through the connecting with communities, they're able to communicate, share, nourish each other, and support each other. My name's Diana Barnett. I'm the founder of Cultivate Impact, and I'm about creating a better world for us and for future generations. And that's my dog. Also, other elements about me is I am a curious and inquisitive soul, and I'm always on a quest for skills and insights. And I've learned a new concept recently called outsights, and I really like that. Stuff that's outside our vision. With this, I often find myself at events. And there's one event I was at. I went up to speak to the GM, who was the sponsor of the event, not the presenter. And I asked him a question. And he responded with a question, and I was puzzled. And his question was, what are you doing here? He said, I don't mean to be rude, but take a look around you. You don't fit the demographic. I looked around and I saw a sea of denim, and I saw pizza, beer, and Coca-Cola. I took a deep breath and smiled. And in my head, I was saying, stuff you. But I took another breath and I said, I'm here because I'm curious and I want to learn. However, I started to retract. I continued my quest of research and insight online. And this made me isolated and disconnected. But I knew, like most trees, we business owners needed community and needed others to become the best versions of ourselves, as well as help others become more resilient. So I started to venture out and I started going to events that were around creating a better world. And I started to bloom. From there, I met Gabrielle, and we were in a meeting one day. And we were having a discussion about collaborating together. And in there, she mentioned perennials. My heart started to soar and sing. I had to ask the question, what are perennials? Because for me, they were blooming plants, evergreens, things that just kept coming around and staying around. But I found out there's another meaning. They're a cohort of people. They have not defined by their demographics. They're defined by their curiosity, their growth mindset, and their openness to change. They're also defined by the way they embrace diversity and they listen and learn. They know that life's about a journey and choices, and it's the choices we make. But one of those choices that they know is that this journey is best done with others and not alone. So this fell very much into my Cultivate Impact. I was so excited because there was a group of people that needed to be nurtured to blossom and bloom. And my Cultivate Impact, I created it to facilitate nature-connected workshops, retreats, and masterminds. And this perennials were a group of people I could service. So with that, I'm continuing my discussions with Gabrielle to work about how we can pivot the wisdom within that group and other groups as well. So that's my stitch that I learned from your story now. And my invitation to you, well, before I move on, is I want you to just reflect at the moment as how does this concept of perennials resonate with you? And where and how does it show itself in your life? And my other question that I want you to sit with too is, how can we recognize other perennials that are across all demographics? And how can we embrace them and encourage them also to move on? So while you're thinking about that and reflecting about that, I thought I'd give you a little bit of history of who I was, a potted history to carry on the theme. And I was born in Papua New Guinea, and I spent a lot of my childhood in Papua New Guinea, and we lived in very isolated areas, but we also spent a lot of time in Sydney. And I spent times like walking to school through a forest, and there were spiders the size of my hand. My hand is smaller then, but still size of my hand. And then I also remember having memories of walking to school along the edge of a beach in Sydney with the waves splashing over. So it was very different memories, but very much connected to nature. So nature's always been part of my life. As being part of this, I went to 12 schools, we moved around a lot. And I am acknowledged that I had white privilege through all of that. But even though I had that, I grew up with a mother that was very much about equality and a father who was about sustainability. And he did his master's in sustainability, environmental science, when I was still finishing school. So he used to bang on about plastic and about water and about all this stuff that I really didn't care about, but it was all very much part of my life. But it became part of my caring. I did care about it, but at 17, it was sort of not that important to me at that time. So along that way, the past 10 years, I've worked in different businesses and in different communities, but always around the area of how do we create a better world for us and for future generations. So that's one of the reasons why I like to work with people who are using business as a force for good, because business is has a big impact on our world. I've got qualifications in different areas, formal ones, but in recent years, I've participated in sustainability leadership, nature immersion, facilitation courses, mastermind courses, etc. And I'm also a way upper work practitioner and diploma teacher. And way upper work, for those who don't know, is an Australian modality that focuses on earth, then mind, body, spirit. And it uses narrative, uses movement, and it uses a choice of life for lifestyle and a way of living. And what I'm going to do is I'll share more of that with Deb when she sends out an email later so if you want to connect with me in that direction, you can. So that's basically a potted history of who I am and where I've come to, so you can understand where I am here. But the rest of today, what I'm planning to do is ask you just to grab a piece of pen and paper, just to have it sitting by you for the moment. And I'm going to do a small meditation, a grounding meditation, to bring us all together. And then we're going to go through 3 exercises. One is after the meditation, I'll get you to reflect on those questions, and I will put those questions in the chat. I'm also then we'll break you into some breakout rooms of 3 people, and you can discuss your reflections and what that means. And then we'll come back to the group and discuss a bit more about what this perennial means and how it turns up in your life, etc. And then believe it or not, the hour will be up. We would have had so much fun. So yeah, so what I'm going to do is, if you haven't got a piece of paper and pen, just put it next to your table. But I'm actually going to ask you, if you can, to stand for this meditation grounding exercise. If you can't and you'd rather sit, that's fine too. So I'm going to ask you to put your stand tall and just with your legs hip-width apart, and take a deep breath. And if you're comfortable doing so, close your eyes down. If you're not, just gaze at the tip of your nose. And take a deep breath into your belly. And then out. And again, right down into your belly. And then out. Now I invite you to go to a place in nature. It's somewhere near you, somewhere you've been on holidays, somewhere that's special to you. Just take this off there. And just notice, what can you smell? What can you feel? What's the feeling on your skin? Is it warm? Is it cold? Is there wind? What can you feel inside? How does that feel? Take another breath. What can you see? What are the colors and the textures? Also, just notice if there's any tasting to your tongue. Sometimes we can taste what we can smell. Just also be aware of what's around you. There's spatial awareness, spatial senses. Feeling like there's lots around you and you've got lots of space. Now, I'd like you to just find a tree or plant a tree there, whatever size that tree is. And move towards that tree and lean against it and embody it. And become one with that tree. And send your feet, go down with it and feel. And send your roots down with the tree and follow the roots of the tree. But while you're following the roots of the tree, send it out to everybody on this call. And know that you can connect each other and support each other on this call. But also send them out to all your loved ones and all your friends and connect with them. And know that you're connecting them, but they're also connecting and supporting you and drawing energy from that. And breathe. And breathe in that energy. And bring that back up, all that energy and all that support and all that love. And bring it up. Up through your legs. And up through your body. Now, if you're able, just stretch your arms up high as though you're the branches of the tree. If it doesn't feel right, that's fine. And your fingers, let them be the leaves. And just pump them a couple of times, exchanging oxygen. And be grateful for the oxygen and the phytoncides that they give us. These are killer cells, natural killer cells that help our immune system and anti-cancer fighting and all sorts of things that trees give us and give each other. And breathe that all in. And then bring your hands right in, right down, and rest them wherever feels comfortable. Now return to your body and take a few deep breaths. And while you're there, just breathe deep into your belly and your heart and know that energy from each other and from all the other loved ones is there to nourish you and you're to nourish them. Reciprocal relationships. So take a few more breaths, and when you're ready, open your eyes and go back. And just take time to sit and journal, and also just reflect on your feelings there. And thinking about the question, does this concept of perennials resonate? If so, where and how does it turn up in your life? If you feel like doodling and not journaling, I'm going to give you 3 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes to do this. 30 seconds to go. So I'll just bring you back. Deb's creating breakout rooms for us. So while she's doing that, if you can put some of your reflections in the chat, and I'm going to invite you to go into rooms in a minute, and groups of 3 or maybe 4 or 2, depends how it all randomly works out on Zoom land. And we're going to be in there for about 10 minutes. And just have a discussion, giving each other about 3 minutes each within that 10 minutes, and of how these concept, where it does turn up, and just having a conversation around this, what it meant to you, how you felt. It's just, I'm just leaving that whole conversation open to you.
Okay, so I've created the breakout rooms. So there's 2 groups of 3 and 1 of 2. So I'm assuming everyone knows about breakout rooms, but I'll just talk through. So obviously I'm going to open them. It'll say join, you join, you'll arrive together, obviously, and have the conversation that Johanna has invited us into. You will get the prop-up giving you a minute. You can choose to just ignore that and continue speaking until you come back, or come back when that pop-up arrives. Okay, see you on the other side and enjoy the conversation. Diana, just to say, I put you into room 4. You can just leave and come back to the main session. It's a room on your own. You can choose to leave and come back.
I've said later.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Deb's having some difficulty.
Yeah,
she was saying, yeah. Look, there she goes.
In and out.
Yeah, she said she's having some difficulty. I'll take you off spotlight. Sorry, we didn't remember to tell you about that. I'm not sure if it was
What, the spotlight?
Yeah, did you know you're on spotlight?
Yeah, I took myself off because I wanted to watch everybody, so I took it onto
great.
gallery.
Good.
Yeah.
Gee, that's beautiful meditation.
Good. Do you want to take it off recording for the moment? Oh, they edit it out, do they?
I think that. Thanks for reminding me. It's my fault. It's not my forte, the detail. So I'm always appreciative of people who are very good at attention to detail. Hello, Suzette.
Hi, Suzette. Nice to see
I decided to take it off because I figured that you'd want to have a face to put with a name as well as a voice.
Well,
appreciated.
Thank you.
Makes a difference, doesn't it?
It does.
It does. It does. So people have, it's always fascinating. Some people just choose to come back straight away. Others sit and wait for that amazing moment. I call it the Star Trek moment, the beam me up Scotty moment.
It's like that.
Yeah, that's right. Some often mid conversation, I quite like letting it go, and then
We're back.
Yay, welcome. Diana.
Cool. Yeah. Well, I'd like to invite you to now share with us your reflections from the journaling in that conversation and anything that's emerging from you. Flourishing, to use the words.
I'm happy to kick it off. Oh, sorry. Go, great. Tiff, go.
Oh, I was just going to say, do you want that in the chat, or are we talking
both? We can do both
with each other. Okay. Oh man, Shell had the most beautiful story to tell of where she went when you invited her into the meditation, and that connection of nature and communities and healing. It was just really beautiful to hear. And some of the journaling that I was doing was that, you know, my friends span different age groups. So I have friends who are teenagers and I have friends who are in their 70s and 80s. And I learn as much from each of them. And I was also talking about the fact that I don't particularly belong to a subculture. I often feel like I move between different cultures and different communities. And that sometimes it feels like I'm part of neither, but other times I just feel like I'm a human in the universe, and just on a constant search for not a constant search. No, I'm just constantly curious and constantly discovering, and that in itself is a gift and something that's beautiful.
And anyone else like to share?
I will. I was saying what came up for me was a drawing, an immediate image about a picture of being in the bush, and just the appreciation of the different directions that growth can take. You know, trees it's never straight up. You know, really weird directions. All of a sudden there's a tree going that way, and, you know, and just that, that's what came up for me about what does perennial, where does it land for me? I immediately saw that and thought, just within any ecosystem, there's a lot of variety and deviations coming up, but that's not the right word, because there's no, you know, we have this idea of norm, of course, but it's never what is norm. There is no norm. The norm is variety or diversity or difference or
yeah.
Well, I had a very inspiring conversation with Annette, and she used the example of a lady down the road who has a nursery of perennials, and how each and every one, you know, being so subtle and beautiful in its own uniqueness, and nothing having to, I heard from her words like, you're not having to compete with each other, but just being able to be and offer to the world in a beautiful way. And I think what I heard too from Perennials, I love that name, is just the inclusive nature of our world. I mean, imagine if we saw people through the eyes of the like me, in terms of, are you a curious learner, and are you a lifelong learner, and someone who's motivated to grow and contribute in a really positive way. I just think that's such a cool way to view people, instead of, you know, through age or race or gender or any of that other stuff. So just beautiful. And so one of the questions we had is how do we live right to the end, and finding ways to pop up in unexpected places. So yeah.
Beautiful. Cool.
I wanted Shell on the chat has written interconnectedness. I don't know if you want to speak at Shell or
I can, yeah. Interconnectedness, soft breeze, rustling leaves, water flowing, bird song, knowing. The forest is the cradle of life, the heartbeat, the pulse of the planet, perennial life. And because to me, that's where it takes me. But I did want to add in our discussion some of what came through from listening to Tiff about perennials was wonder and excitement, a delightedness, and being energized.
Thank you. Anyone else want to speak?
Suzette has written in the chat as well. I'm happy to speak it, but I'm also, you know.
No, I'll go.
Great.
I just
Yeah.
have my dogs in the background, so I really don't want to have them disturbed.
Oh, bye.
So
They're part of it all.
That's true. That's true. I think what was a common thread was the idea of curiosity and borderless. And why I say borderless is that irrespective of the geographical spaces we occupy, here we have an opportunity to learn and grow from each other and to practice what it is that what are your values, I would want to say. But I think for me, anchoring to what all of you have said is the idea, there's a significance of continuity. So even though there's vulnerability at the edge, there is a sense of pushing forward, knowing that whilst you're doing so, you're also learning and you're also strengthening those memory cells or memory muscles, which when you come in contact with others, you're either going to trigger them to begin to renew or stagnate. That's also an option because they may take it but not use it. But I think at the end of the day, there is this quest, there's a journey, and this is what it is.
Beautiful. We do a little sparkulation or a big sparkulation. So nourishing. It feels very nourishing to me, the responses around this question of perennial. Very nourishing soil. I'm wondering, Diana, we might need to, it's 8:56. I know you also had another practice and imagery to send us off with, because I know this could continue, but I also know timing.
Okay, so this is a very quick, I really want to thank you all for following your curiosity and joining us here. And Gabriel and I are going to run some discussion groups later on. If you want to make contact with us, you can. And I'll be sending it, I can, Deb, I don't know if it's Deb or Joe will send out information on it, on us, so you can contact us through that, and we'll just to continue this conversation. The thing now is, I'm just going to ask you to close your eyes, and I'm going to borrow from Waiapa, and Waiapa has 14 elements that they honor, and one of them is the air element, and the air element is the air bird, or the air animal. And here, you can be a bird, you can be a butterfly, dragonfly, bee, whatever comes to you, an eagle, a Gordian finch. So just imagine that you're embodying that, and you're going to take off and you're going to fly high. And just fly up high, really, really high. And there you're going to look at taking this context, because the bird reminds us, or the air animal reminds us, to look at things from a different context and from different perspectives, and to fly high and to look at this concept and this perspective of perennials, but then swoop down close to it. And we've spent some time today being very close to it and swooping down and just observing it. And then you're going to turn in your mind, you're going to glide to your left, and you're going to glide further, and you're going to get an updraft to reserve your energy while you look at what others have done in this area of perennials and how they have embraced them and encouraged them. And you're going to come back, and you're going to take another updraft, and you're going to go high again, and you're going to move to your right, And here, you're going to set the intention of how you're going to move in and out of context with this concept of perennial, how you're going to embrace it from very close up, but as well as standing back and looking at it. And then just glide around, up and down, and then just land near a waterhole. Take a breath in. Smile and return when you're ready.
Beautiful. Yeah, that's I love that. It's hard to want to come back. I'm sitting at the waterhole. So we are at 9 o'clock, and I know we like to honour and appreciate everyone's time. We do have a particular close, but firstly, I want to say thanks so much, Diana, for sharing and inviting us in to this exploration and questioning and articulation around perennial. And to others, Diana said, we will follow up with contact so you can step in to this question deeper and further and connect with this grove and this forest that is being generated here between us, between what we've shared. We have a particular close that we like to do together to acknowledge each other. So if you need to go, please, we want to appreciate. Thank you for being here. We look forward to seeing you again. And, you know, we're no offense taken. If you need to leave, then leave. Otherwise, we'll close together by acknowledging each other. And how we're going to do that is, again, we take ourselves off mute and we bring our voices in contact and connection. And we call out each other. So first of all, we put up everyone puts up their hand so we know who's been called out and connected with and who hasn't. And I'm going to, I'll start. So I'll call out and recognize Leonie. And I say, whatever I like to say, Leonie, briefly, we are closing and it's a recognition. And to thank Leonie. So I want to recognize Leonie. So thrilled to have you in this space with us. I want to thank you for joining us, Leonie. And once you've been called out, you can put your hand down and then Leonie will pass on and recognize someone else.
Thank you, Johanna. I would like to recognize Annette, my breakout buddy, for, I said, from the second she gave a massive wave and a huge smile on the call, it just spread instant warmth to the group and really appreciated the invigorating conversation. So thank you.
Thank you, Leonie. And yes, a delight, absolute delight to interact with you in the breakout room, and hope to see you again. So have a wonderful day. Now, I'd like to say that I see Sue and I acknowledge Sue. Hello, Sue. And I'd like to say to Sue that I just think you nestled in your background.
It's a classic Zoom moment. That might, yeah, Annette, feel free if you're able to put that in the chat, but I think we'll take that as the baton has been moved to Sue.
Thanks,
and
Annette.
Sue can. Oh. We're all like, we're with you. Okay. Yes.
Exit stage left. Okay.
You might need to write that, Annette. Thank you. And we all empathize. We all know this moment well. So Sue.
I recognize Suzette. Yeah, it was great to be in the chat conversation with you. And I recognize the broad perspective you bring to your work in how you shared with us briefly those 3 minutes.
You're on mute.
You're on mute, Suzette.
You're on mute.
I recognize Johanna. It was a warm welcome. My curiosity drove me here, and I sat the first couple of minutes with my camera off, assessing. But then the warmth of your voice led me to believe that it was best to just go hog and take that camera off.
I say oink oink to that. And I recognize my dear colleague Deb, who is always with me, and I so value your presence and realize in your not being there, it's like, oh, my Deb. I'm glad you've made it back for the close.
I see you, Hannah. I was with you in spirit the whole time. Maybe the others don't notice, but my internet just kept dropping out. I kept losing you. I was sending you messages. I can't find you. Where are you? So I sympathize with you, Annette. So happy to be always with the Moving Fearlessly community, and very happy to welcome back Miss Shell, my friend Shell. So wonderful to see you. You're in the middle of my screen right now, looking beautiful. I see you, and I'm so happy that you're back.
Thank you, Deb. It's lovely to be back. I want to recognise Tiff, who we shared a lovely conversation when we went into our chat room, and who always brings a beautiful smiling face and such kindness, and really offers encouragement and support to every presenter. Thank you, Tiff.
Thank you, Shell. And I will be listening out for every bird song and be thinking of you. Thank you so much. And Diana, I see you, and I've been so delighted to hear the evolution of your stitch and the sharing of the opportunity to reflect on your stitch and on the concept of perennials and how they intersect with our lives and what they mean to us. So thank you so much, and thank you for the gift that you've given us this morning.
Thank you. I want to say thank you to each and every one of you, and those that had to go for following their curiosity and following their path here and sharing so much about it, because I'm loving this perennial, and I'm loving the fact that it's just connected with a lot of other people. It's just not me. So it's just it's just there, and I'm just going, oh my God. So, yeah, thank you all. I hear you all. I really loved your reflections, and I'm just
So we will close, and thank you again to everyone. Welcome to come back next week. We've got another wonderful presenter in Iz, who does a lot of energy work and is offering a session, which the name is escaping me. I don't know, if Deb, if it's on the top of your...
Ground, set, go. It's about grounding and then moving from there.
Yeah. grounding now and moving forward. So we certainly come back. This Deb will follow up with an email on how to contact Diana with, and Diana may share some other details within that. I think that's it. Thank you again, and look forward to next time. In the interim, stay safe, stay connected, stay supported, and in relationship.